Hey guys, it's Jonathan. So I said I would post a video kind of explaining my coming out. Um, just thought I'd share. I'm sure there's lots of stories out there, and good ones and bad ones and stuff like that. Mine's actually kind of, I think it's a good one, in my opinion. Basically, I came out when I was 16. Of course, like when you're gay, you know that you are gay. Well, for myself, I knew when I was like a little kid. Of course, you don't know what to do about it, and you don't know what it is, basically. So, basically, how the story goes is that I was getting my fortune read. That sounds really corny, but I was getting my fortune read, and the lady said that I had something to say, but I didn't know how to say it. And I was like, well, I guess that's true, like, more or less. And I think about talking about to my parents and my family about being gay and whatnot, because I came out to my friends. No, I came out to my family before I came out to my friends. So this is going into school in grade 10. This is the summer before. And my mom was like, "Well, what is it?" And I think my mom was like, "Oh, I knew," because moms do that. But basically, she was like, "Well, what is it?" And I was like, "Well, it's really hard for me to say. Like, I don't know how you'll react and stuff like that." She's like, "Well," she started spouting stuff off like, "Do you have someone pregnant?" And I was like, "No." And she's like, "Well, are you smoking? Are you doing drugs?" All this business. And then she's like, "Are you gay?" And I said, "Yes." And she started to cry. And that's the thing I don't understand. It's like crying. There's so much crying. And it's like, why are you crying? And my mom was like, "Well, you're just going to miss out on so much stuff. Like you won't be able to have like your own kids, blah blah blah." It's like, well, I can. You won't be able to marry. Life is gonna be so hard. And it's like, yeah, well, it's not like I chose this, and whatever. But basically, uh, yeah, she cried a lot, and she was the first person I told my family, and then she told my father, and I kind of like had a little sit down because I come from a big family. Like there's me, I have three older siblings and three younger siblings. I'm the middle kid, so I'm like the black sheep. I'm the only one with like red hair, sort of more or less, and gay and whatnot. So basically, it was me, my older siblings, two of them because one of my older siblings has Down syndrome, so either way, it wouldn't really matter to her. But my oldest brother was like, "I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to hear about it." So it's like, okay, whatever. Like it doesn't really bother me. My older sister was like, "I'm so glad you're not one of these gays," like, which is like endearing in a way, but it kind of offensive. But which is it's a sad thing when you think about really flamboyant people, because like there's some people, like when you get to know me, like, okay, he's gay, but like I don't like put myself out there. It's not that I don't want to put myself out there and I don't try to put myself out there. It's just that I'm not that type of person. Like I'm outgoing and stuff like that, but I'm not like, you know makeup and I don't know, various flamboyant type things that some gays do, but it's not like they ask for it, because I personally believe you're born like this. It's not a choice. Like, but what I was saying is that it's sad that when you come out, you're glad you're not. Sometimes, like for people who aren't extremely flamboyant, they're glad they're not flamboyant because it's even harder when you're flamboyant or like really extroverted, or yeah, extroverted, to get by. Like the city that grew up in is Fort McMurray, Alberta, which is where the oil sands are located, if anybody knows. So like Syncrude and Suncor, and there's all that stuff going around that for like environment groups and stuff like that. But anyways, that's like Rig City, like fat, disgusting men that drive trucks all day long, and I'm pretty sure the population is 5 males or 10 males to one female. So just imagine that. Just put that in your head and imagine what that would be like. So various times I've been growing up in that city, as a teenager, you'd be like yelled at down walking down the street, and people were being shot and people have been killed there, mostly for drugs, not necessarily for being gay, but mostly for like drugs and money and blah 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 blah. As a child, it was really nice to grow up there because like you could it still was kind of like really quiet, so you could it wasn't really booming. It was still booming, but not as extreme. So I felt mostly safe. um, High school was a completely different story. Made fun of quite a lot. I I kind of got a thicker skin in high school than I did when I was a child. Like I cried a lot when I was a kid. But in high school, I kind of let things kind of brush off my back a lot easier because when you do that, you're not made fun of as much because people can see that it doesn't get to you. Of course, it got to me, and I was upset about stuff. But um, walking down the hall, someone would be like faggot, you know, stuff like that. I had a lot of people make fun of me, and I wasn't even extremely out there, you know. So what can you do? I'm much more comfortable with myself now. Obviously, like I'm 22 years old. Um, Coming out was I like I had a really supportive family. Everyone was really supportive except for my older brother. Like he's not unsupportive. He just doesn't. I don't think he really knows how to handle it or deal with it. It's not like it's a disease or anything, but we never we he wouldn't we just don't talk very much. We just have completely different views on life and the world and society and gay and yada 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 yada. So um, I just it I thought I'd share my story because like mine was really positive, as opposed to some people who like my I'll go to gay dances here in the Okanagan, and my mom will come with me, and people will be like, that's your mom? Your mom came with you? And I was like, yeah, why? Like, she's here to have a couple drinks, meet some of my friends, dance, And people would be like, well, my mom would never, ever come to this, come to a dance. Like, my mom is relatively young. Like, I have a relatively young family. My dad's 49, my mom's 47. So, yeah, I wouldn't be able to imagine my mom not going to a gay dance with me or anything like that, or coming to like Pride or anything like that. It just upsets me when people say that their parents wouldn't ever do that. My dad would go for sure. Like he'd probably have a lot of fun, but my dad is just that type of person. So I just thought I'd let people know who are coming out that family is important, but you have to come first. It does sound selfish, but not enough people are not enough people who deserve to be selfish are selfish, if that makes sense. Like not to be too selfish, but and this is another long one, of course. So, um, as long as you have friends and support elsewhere, if you can't get support from your family, it's not that big of a deal, more or less. You just need to be strong, and I really hope people have more positive stories about coming out now, and I really hope that the people who don't have positive stories can find positive support. But yeah, thanks for listening.